The elegant and elusive movements of the crane, as once observed by the ancient Chinese, were imitated and combined with the tiger's fierce attack in combat. The name Shaolin has become synonymous with Kung Fu, though the source of China's fighting arts can be traced back centuries before Shaolin styles emerged. Situated on Sung Mountain in the Honan province is one of China's most famous monasteries. Built in 495 AD, this huge monastery, which at one time housed up to 2,000 monks, created a natural atmosphere conducive to the contemplation of and devotion to the Buddha by those who forsook society and sought spiritual solace. Nevertheless, it was no typical Buddhist monastery. For within these walls, along with the profound silence of monks sitting cross-legged, absorbed in meditation, and the hypnotic drone of others chanting holy sutras, was mingled the piercing battle cries of warrior monks engaged in combat. Their refuge, the fabled Shaolin Monastery, was a center for men dedicated not only to salvation, but to a secret discipline which was a curious blend of physical toughness and spiritual purity. The genesis of Shaolin Kung Fu, which because of oral tradition has become an interweaving of legend and history, begins with the appearance of the enigmatic and awesome monk, Damo. To Buddhists, he is revered as the founder of Zen. To martial artists, he is considered the father of Shaolin Kung Fu. In the 6th century AD, he departed his home in India, trekking eastward to Canton, up to Nanking, then further north, where upon reaching the Shaolin Monastery, he stopped and thereby began to teach spiritual insight through Zen meditation. Damo created certain exercises after discovering that monks, who not being able to stand the rigorous Zen discipline required for gaining enlightenment, fell asleep during meditation. To nourish their health and supplement their passive seated meditation, he devised 3 sets of psychological and physical yoga-like exercises called 18 Monks Boxing, the Sinew Changing Classic, the Marrow Washing Classic. These active meditational exercises allegedly form the embryo from which Shaolin Kung Fu evolved. The martial arts were born out of practical necessity. During holy pilgrimages, monks were frequently robbed of religious treasures by marauding bandits. By adapting Damo's postures into fighting movements, they developed sophisticated fighting methods whereby they could protect themselves. With the influence of Zen, what would have been merely a deadly science of combat was elevated into a martial art, a physical and mental discipline created not only for self-defense, but also as a vehicle for spiritual cultivation. This art so flourished over the centuries that the valor and skills of Shaolin monks became legendary. In 1736, the foreign Manchus banner troops attacked the monastery. Vastly outnumbered, the warrior monks were annihilated. The Shaolin monastery was burnt to the ground. A handful of survivors fled and openly spread their art to the populace. Today, the Shaolin monastery has been rebuilt and is remembered as the origin of a profusion of Kung Fu styles over the centuries. One such style is Hung, created and named after Hong Shiguan, a Cantonese master known as one of the 10 tigers from Shaolin. He was a disciple of the famous Shaolin abbot Ji San, who, after escaping the burning of the Shaolin, became the major figure responsible for spreading Shaolin Kung Fu throughout southern China. Here in Hong Kong, Master Chiu Chi Ling demonstrates the Hung style's famous tiger and crane form. Combining the fighting movements of the tiger with the crane is in accord with the Chinese belief in the necessity of balancing opposite extremes to create a harmonious totality. In Kung Fu, this concept is referred to as hardness and softness. The hard is represented by the tiger and the soft by the crane. Therefore, the fierce tiger's tremendous power and directness in attacking is complemented by the elegant crane's speed and elusiveness in combat. In Hong Shiguan's tiger and crane form, then, the hard elements of combat are subtly wedded with the soft elements in order to create a complete fighting method. Observe the intense exertion in muscular power required in the opening movements. Despite the seeming hardness, there is a certain absence of rigidity or stiffness, which is replaced by a fluidity or softness in the execution of each move. This form exemplifies the concepts of the unification of softness and hardness, in that applied muscular tension is subtly balanced with relaxation. The total intensity apparent in these motions demonstrates the total concentration of physical and mental energy, which is the key to performing this form correctly. Visually, a form seems like a dance. Yet, despite the dance-like qualities, a form is not a dance. Every movement is pregnant with hidden meaning. Behind those elegant and intricate hand and foot patterns are deadly techniques that can injure, maim, blind, emasculate, or even kill. And behind the ever-flowing graceful motions is a power which, if unleashed, can be destructive. A form is a series of prearranged offensive and defensive techniques which simulates combat against a group of imaginary opponents. Contained within the many choreographed movements are the blocks, punches, kicks, and various techniques exclusive to that particular style. Here we see tiger and crane techniques being performed. To say form is the heart of Kung Fu is not to exaggerate its traditional importance. Everything is in the form, for it is the primary method of both instructing and training in the art, a way of transmitting a system of knowledge from master to disciple, an encyclopedia of fighting techniques, applications to those techniques, principles of body dynamics and combat strategy. At the same time, as a formal exercise of Kung Fu, it is an effective way of developing power, speed, footwork, and fighting combinations, all that is necessary to pack authority behind movements, if they are to be effective in combat. Simply as an exercise, form conditions the entire body for strength, flexibility, endurance, and coordination. Still on the purely artistic level, a form is beauty and a grace of motion, a visual poem or a musical composition that allows the individual, through his body, a profound means of self-expression. When executed with precision and virtuosity, a form epitomizes the aesthetics of power. Kung Fu is power concealed in elegance. Power, ferocity, and directness describes the attack of the animal kingdom's most feared predator, the tiger, whose major weapons are his powerful forepaws and razor-sharp claws, which, with a single swipe, can down a full-grown deer. For this hand position, extend your arms forward. Bend your hand at your wrist. Now bend your thumb and fingertips at the joints. This is the tiger claw. Tiger techniques imitate the swiping and clawing motions of a fighting tiger. The tiger claw is primarily employed as a palm-straight thrust directed to the face, the side of the head, or to the solar plexus. Blocks are usually counterclockwise or clockwise circular motions. Whenever possible after blocking, grab the arm and pull to unbalance your opponent. Your right claw grabs your opponent by the hair and your left claw grabs his throat. This is a slow-motion tiger claw defense against a punch. Block, grab, and pull the opponent's arm. Continue unbalancing him by grabbing his hair. Attack his throat with a left tiger claw, thrust, and then apply a choke. Elusiveness, speed, and deception characterize the crane in combat. Although elegant in appearance while flapping its wings or flying about, the ability to startle and stun using quick pecking motions with its beak suddenly makes the crane a formidable adversary to predators. For this hand position, extend your arm forward, bring your fingertips together and bend your wrist. This is the crane's beak. Crane technique imitates the pecking motions of a crane, attacking with its beak. The beak can be aimed at the bridge of the nose, the throat, the ribs, or to the groin. The crane head uses the bent wrist as a weapon to strike to the jaw, the chest, or the ribs. To make a correct fist, clench your fingers tightly and cover your first two fingers with your thumb. Keep your wrist straight. The thrusting punch can be delivered high to the face, middle to the stomach, or low to the groin. The Phoenix Eye Fist is the foreknuckle extended and supported by the thumb. It is aimed at the body's soft areas, under the armpit, under the ear, or the solar plexus. The leopard paw uses the first joints of the fingers to strike as well towards the body's softer areas. Such as under the nose, or the throat, or the ribs, or the lower abdomen. This form employs a cross elbow strike, a rising elbow strike, a side elbow strike, and a descending elbow strike. The front kick is used to the stomach, to the groin, and to the knee or shin. The knee is used as a strike to the head or to the stomach. A canvas bag filled with dried beans, sand or BBs is a necessary training aid. Throwing the bag, striking it with your palm and then grabbing it develops arm, wrist and gripping strength for tiger claw techniques.